episode 44. I have a stream open somewhere, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But this is June 16, 2015. It took a while to get here, but we're here, so let's all be happy. I'm joined with a wonderful guest today. Wolf, how have you been? What have you been up
Pretty
to?
good, man. Just more StarCraft stuff and doing a little bit of World of Tanks and just in general, the same sort of stuff you'd expect from me,
Mm-hmm.
doing Korea updates and whatnot, and trying to keep everyone as informed as I can about like what's going on out here and Code 8 qualifier type stuff, just things like that.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. What about you, Nanny? What have you been up to?
No, nothing new. Just begging for donations as always. You know, the good life of a streamer.
This guy.
It's
My
actually
man.
much more stressful than I imagined it. If I should be honest about it.
Yeah.
At least I get very stressed when you're losing on stream, and then these 12-year-olds they trigger you all day long. I don't know.
And then you ban them for laughing.
Yeah, and then I
in
ban them,
chat.
and then they make new accounts, and the cycle continues. They just won't stop. At least I get very.
What about you, Morrow? What have you been up to, my man?
Just the usual, streaming and yeah, that's pretty much it. I played a tournament yesterday, the Starbow Championship, Starbow Weekly, and I beat Arthur, the standing champion, I guess, who's been winning both of them, and won that one. Took it home for the foreigners, so it felt really good. So that happened like 3 a.m. or something. So.
Wow, what a warrior. What a trooper. What about you, Chris? What have you been up to? Except scheduling tournaments 1 hour before Remix.
I didn't schedule it, man. I just had to play in it. So yeah, I'm playing in a group stage right now. You guys might see me pop out. Maybe I'll just I'll leave my webcam on and just mute, and then you guys can just stare at my
Yeah. You're gonna
my
game
face
face?
as I
You
play.
what game are you playing? Heroes?
Yeah, when I play, I bite my lips. And yeah, I'm casting heroes as NaNiwa wants to call me out. Go ahead, NaNiwa. Go
No,
ahead.
no, like, you said you were playing a tournament now.
Yeah, it's
No,
StarCraft.
it's StarCraft 2, man.
Okay, I asked what game.
Motherfucker.
Not yet, not yet.
Soon.
How should I
So-
know?
Yeah, I've just been, I don't know, preparing for WCS Toronto. I have a small LAN coming up this Saturday. Get to see Henry Z. Other than that, I don't know, man. Not much, I guess.
Andrelis for the people that don't know Enrique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Masa?
Yeah.
No, not going there.
I think Masa will probably go. No regret. A few other.
Isn't
top
isn't
Canadian
Masa in California though?
players. I don't know. He was for WCS, but he got knocked out. So I assume he'd come back. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. As for myself, not much has happened. Just the same thing. Yeah. Let's move on to the topics. There's a new tournament that was announced last week, and it's pretty great because new tournaments that hasn't happened in a while. So we're gonna take it and be happy with it. It's the MSI MGA tournament at PAX Prime Seattle. It's a 16-man tournament, a lot of money on the line if you look at the Reddit thread. But they also cover the flying costs for the qualifiers, so like no one's gonna have to get their team to pay for them. It's gonna be, I think it's 2 slots per region. There's no open bracket, which is a little bit disappointing. But Chris, do you think you still have what it takes to qualify for any region?
Yeah, I mean it'll be tough. There's no hidden fact that I'm like the best NA player all around, so it'll be really tough. But I do have a good shot, and I would love to play. I've never even been to PAX, even though I've had the opportunity a few times, and people say it's really fun. So, yeah,
Well,
Captain America will stand in your way, though.
probably,
Quite a struggle.
probably.
Yes.
I don't think there's any information about who's casting. They say MSI Gaming Asia and MSI Gaming AM EU, but they haven't talked about casters. Wolf, do you know if you know any guys that's gonna cover the Asia stream?
I actually don't know. My guess is probably it's just gonna be like either community casters or
Maybe Breaker.
It could be Breaker. I mean, he's the guy who knows that kind of stuff. really well. It could possibly be like someone like Calor or Base Trade or whoever ends up kind of showing up to do it. I guess probably one of those types of people. I would guess. I really actually don't know.
Okay. What about you, Nanny? Are you gonna try to play and do your best and go to
Oh
Seattle?
yeah, I will try my best, but I'm not very confident at the moment.
Oh.
I've gone from like rank 6 on the ladder to 24, so having a bit of a struggle there.
Wait, you're
PvC
ranked
seems so
24?
hard at the moment.
You're ranked 24?
Yeah, I
What-
lost like 20 games in a row last night.
Oh, my man. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to play during the night. You don't get that many good opponents. What about you, Mo? Are you gonna try?
I will have to look into it.
It's not starbow.
Maybe. Yeah, it's not starbow, but yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see. It just seems it's just so sad. Like you sign up and then you're just eventually gonna lose because it's actually
What?
so
Why?
hard to qualify.
What's your like biggest fear of when you go into a qualifier like this? Like, you said you're kind of like you're gonna lose. Would you like you're afraid you're gonna run into like that one cheese or that one guy who's just better than you or just in better condition that day? And what do you mean? Like you seem like you feel like you're gonna lose.
No, it's like you have to prioritize, right? So not now that I'm not only playing for tournaments, I could also be like streaming or doing whatever, having fun. So instead
But
of
you could
just
stream the qualifier, right?
Yeah. Most likely, yeah.
yeah, maybe
So what's
I'll
your next
play
excuse?
it, but I didn't play IM a couple of days ago because my sleep schedule was fucked up, and I knew that day 2 qualifier was gonna be at a bad time for me. That's why I didn't play that one. But I might play this one. Like I will have to look into the tournament itself and so on. But I'm not one of those pros who play like every single qualifier and play like everything. That's not what I do. It has never been me.
Okay. Next up, the Kespa Cup Season 2 has been announced. There's already 4 players qualified for it. Eero and Dark in Dream and Classic. There's going to be the winner of GSL and the runner-up. There's going to be the top 2 ranked players from Pro League, and there's going to be 8 qualifier spots available on the Korean ladder. So, Chris, it's your time to shine, right? You're going to go qualify?
The shitty thing is I think like I got linked when Kenzie tweeted. I don't know why the fuck he linked me, to be honest. It was like me, Rhett, TLO, and Snoot, but I appreciate it either way.
I can tell you
What?
a little bit about that, but
Okay. Well, anyways, the shitty thing is the qualifier I think is happening when WCS Toronto is underway. Like I think WCS Toronto starts on the 25th, but of course everybody has to like travel and get there on the 24th, and I think that's when the qualifier is supposed to be happen. So most of those people won't even get to play anyways, and then they're still holding it on Korea server. So
Yeah, maybe one day they'll have a foreigner qualifier. But then again, it's like really for the top of the cream, right, Wolf?
yeah.
So, I mean, basically, like, I was talking to Kenzie about this earlier. I translate, like, a ton of his tweets, or at least, like, I attempt to, and sometimes he doesn't even take what I, what I say to translate. But he was asking me, there seemed like there was a lot of confusion last season. A lot of players, like, wanted to play foreign players, but they didn't know how to sign up, or they didn't know what times it was and stuff. And I told him, like, well, for foreigners, it's, like, really complicated. They have to play on the Korean server, so it's really laggy. They're playing against Koreans who are they might hit like a GSL champion or something in their qualifier bracket. They have to stay up in the middle of the night. It's like so bad for them. It's just not a fair qualifier. That's why I don't play. He's like, well, I don't know. I just think they're really confused and they want to play. I'm like, as far as I could tell, I don't think that's the reason, right? But yeah, I mean, the players that are going to be in the Kespa Cup are they are the best of the best currently, right? You've got the players that are at the top of the Star League, you've got the players at the top of GSL, top of Pro League, and then of course people win those insane qualifiers. So I wish there was actually like a foreigner qualifier where we could have like 2 foreigners seated in or something where like no Koreans are allowed to participate, because that'd be really cool to see foreigners come to Korea and compete. But part of the problem in Korea right now is whenever foreigners get invited to tournaments in Korea, a lot of them just say no, even if they're like given totally like free spot in the tournament, just because for them it means like they're jet lagged, they get their sleep schedule messed up, they're not able to practice for WCS as well as they'd like to, and then they just don't want to do it. So I think it would be really cool to see foreigners participate in the tournament, but it's going to be just like super hardcore top tier Korean players for this one.
Yeah.
It looks like, anyways.
Yeah, what you say about players saying no? I think it was Snoot and Bunny. They got an invite for SSL Season 2, and the dates didn't work out for them. But I hope that, despite them saying no, they won't give up, and they'll keep trying to get them to Korea. Because I miss those days of GSL World Championship and so on, where you had a bunch of foreigners in Korea trying. It's definitely more exciting. Next up, let me find it. Okay, so there was a balance update for Legacy of the Void. A bunch of stuff added in. We'll see, we'll take a look. Of course, not everyone has been playing a lot of Legacy of the Void, but we can still discuss a little bit about our thoughts on the matter. The new Ghost ability, Mo, are you satisfied? It sounds really weird. I'm gonna say it out loud. So Ghost would gain a new ability that spawns a flying drone on an enemy target. The drone would channel a beam at the enemy unit, reducing its armor by 3. The drone would have a fixed duration and can be attacked and killed. The main purpose of this ability is to help Terran's bioarmies better deal with current weakness, high armor targets. So, what do you think of that concept versus the dinosaurs, aka the Ultralisks?
I don't like it at all. The thing is with something like that is that, like, basically, since it can be attacked, as long as the enemy army has like ranged units, it will just die instantly. Because I can't imagine it having a lot of health if it's just like a drone you throw out. So I think it's just gonna be killed instantly, and it just seems like something you would do against something like Ultralisk or Colossus, but I don't see many scenarios where you wouldn't like support them with queens or stalkers or whatever. So to me, the ability seems completely useless right now, but that's without looking at any of the stats. The ability itself to reduce armor, I think is interesting, but yeah, I think something like this doesn't quite work. Maybe it should have just been something that you just throw a debuff at one unit. Maybe that would have just worked out better, but itself is not super interesting. It's kind of like corruption then, but instead of like extra damage or that it takes more damage, it's just like armor reduction, which is basically the same thing. So yeah, overall I don't like it.
What do you think about the Ghost movement speed increase?
Oh, that is something I do like. I just think Terran is very difficult to micro, and Ghost is one of those units that are the hardest to micro. And just having a spellcaster, it's true, but like these are 3 like Protoss faggots right here, so ignore their faces.
No, I mean, okay, so let's talk about this. Like, let's talk.
So
let's talk about
actually,
this.
like being quicker with the Ghost is gonna make it easier to micro. So I do like the change a lot. Go on.
I mean, it
Tell
seems
us.
like it's gonna. It seems okay. So let's talk about this a lot because I mean, the first Ghost ability, the channeling thing, seems kind of gimmicky and weird. Like, I highly doubt that's actually gonna. Like, I mean, I don't think that's really gonna be a normal thing that people start adding into their comps. But like, the movement speed could affect the TVP matchup quite a lot, right? Because you can actually EMP a lot easier. You can, move around with Cloak Ghost a lot, more, like, with more flexibility, I guess you could say. The thing is about all these notes, and I'm really curious what you guys, the pros, actually think about this. Like, all these notes are so vague. It's like movement speed increase. How much? We don't know. Like, how much does the drone cost? And does the Ghost have to be channeling the drone, or you just cast it on a unit, then the drone is channeling? Can it be destroyed? I mean, it says it can be attacked and killed, so I guess so. We don't know how much hit points it has, if it's like really small, like a PDD or what. So like, if like these balance changes, until we see them, we don't really know. But like, what do you think? I mean, with the pros players like NaNiwa, HuK, what do you guys think about the Ghost speed change, especially?
Go ahead, NaNiwa.
Oh, I think it's great because the Ghost it's so difficult to micro. I can't do it.
It is.
Coke.
Shut up.
Well, this to me seems like like when they buff the speed of the Oracle, like it's totally irrelevant to anything that has been happening in any meta game whatsoever. Like it's nice, which is the same with the Oracle, right? But I don't understand the need for it, I guess. Like the Ghost has always been to me something like it's in the front of your army, right? And you EMP and then you snipe and then the Ghost has done their job. But I think what you're saying is making a lot of sense, Wolf. That throwing down nukes and stuff later on in the game will probably be a much more common thing. Especially with really large maps, and if the ghosts are very quick, then I guess you can do that as well, a lot more frequently. But I just don't understand the need for it. Perhaps they're trying to encourage more late game, but I'm not too sure if that will be like the way to encourage it.
Yeah, I mean,
It seems
in
like they need to
Korea,
fix like the early game in that case if they want it to go to like the late game instead of just like changing the late game itself like that. But
well, in
perhaps I'm
Korea,
thinking of
like
it wrong.
we in
Go on.
Korea, like we don't ever like see almost hardly ever until very recently, and only sometimes pro S players ever having to face ghosts because most top Terrans in Korea just kill the Protoss so hard through the mid game that like they just kill them with a timing push by pulling their SCVs and attacking. We almost never see a Terran go, all right, the plan is I'm going to hold the third base against the Protoss and get a Ghost Academy and make Ghosts and EMP as high Templar as Archons. So I guess like that would make the Ghost, you know, if it's faster, just a little bit easier to implement in a composition where you're actually fighting like games. So this might be like a Korea focus change, but the patch note itself is so vague we really don't know exactly. You know, it literally just says we'd like to try this one out to see if Ghost can better be combined with other bio units. So we don't really know exactly what they're thinking with this.
Yeah, it's very vague. I was thinking about snipe. Like, how did it work back in Wings? I don't remember. I know it was strong versus broods and versus a lot of things, but how did it go versus Ultralisk? Was it good?
Oh yeah, it countered Ultralisk, right? When they could use the
Yeah.
scroll wheel.
Yeah.
I wish
were
they would.
They just
destroying
like
Ultras.
whoop,
Yeah,
and
but
it just disappeared.
yeah, I wish they would go back to that. They would give a snipe another try because it's like useless, right? Unless like you get a EMP on some Templars and then you snipe once or twice, it's never
I think
used.
snipe is still very useful against Templar, if that's the case you're talking about. But
Yeah.
against Zerg it seems very
Useless.
useless. Yeah.
Morrow, would you prefer seeing snipe make a comeback rather than that drone flying thingy?
I'm not sure if I want like Ghost to be the unit to counter Ultralisk. That seems a bit silly to me. I don't like the idea of splitting up Marauders into two different attacks, because that's essentially what made Bio useless against Ultralisk, because the armor makes too big of a difference. So I don't understand the logic behind that in the first place. It basically like the Marauder is supposed to counter like big armored units, and those units are usually the ones with high armor, as in the stat armor. So splitting it up in two different attacks, it doesn't make too much sense to me in the first place, in my opinion. But yeah, I do think Ghost, like the sniper ability, could have more like universal utility, dealing more like flat damage to kind of everything. But I wouldn't like it to be like back in the day where you could have like 10 ghosts and you scroll down an Ultralisk in a second, like NaNiwa is saying. I think that's a bit stupid when you can basically build Ultralisk against any like tier 3 Zerg unit and just kill it like that.
Yeah, but back then people were like worse at the game. These days you could see like infestors trying to catch those ghosts, and then you'd see like more micro than you used to see back then, right?
Yeah, I suppose. I just don't. I'm not a big fan of like spamming infested Terrans like crazy, or spamming auto turrets, or doing that spam micro on a singular unit like that with a scroll wheel, because then I will just be sitting there scroll wheeling with my ghost instead of like splitting up my units or target firing different things and so on. I don't like that type of micro.
Okay.
But yeah, we talked about that before.
Okay. New upgrade, reducing medevac unload delay. We're exploring various upgrade replacement for the medevac and tried upgrade ranging from providing straight up power in combat to various utility upgrade ideas that change up their gameplay. We decided to try reducing the unload delay because we feel the medevacs that medevacs don't need to be buffed in strength and main engagement, but we wanted them loading and unloading in various locations throughout combat or during an harassment.
Oh, but finally, Terrans will be able to start dropping guys.
Yeah,
Amazing.
medevacs. Medevacs were not good enough. They came into Heart of the Swarm. They're like, you know what? Let's just give them a speed boost. Maybe they will be used more because we just don't see them in gameplay. And now they're
Hey,
thinking,
don't forget
we need more medevacs.
don't forget the Caduceus reactor. They tried that too. The Caduceus reactor was in the beta where the medevacs healed like way so fast I can't even describe how fast medevacs used to heal. They're touching them a lot, but I don't know. This seems a bit.
I
This seems
hate
a bit
this so much. I think even Morrow is like realizing that it's a little bit ridiculous because they're already so strong.
Yeah, it's super stupid. Like basically, the strongest thing Terran has is dropping with medevacs. I think most people can agree on that. That like dropping bio is probably the strongest thing overall that Terran can do, and you know buffing that area is like the completely wrong way to go about it, in my opinion.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a pro, right? But I watch a lot of games because I commentate a lot of games. But like the medevac is clearly like the best tool that Terran has. Like that's what Terran is always doing in almost every matchup, even in TVT in the late game. You're just constantly harassing because that's all you can do. If you're not putting pressure on your opponent, you're not gonna get the most value out of your bio, right? So sometimes you see doom drops, sometimes you see like drops to kill workers. If you can actually cost efficiently with like 8 Marines and a medevac kill 9 drones that and then boost up and get away, that's incredible damage. Or if you can drop 2 widow mines and 1 mineral line and then another widow mine and another process mineral line, and he just doesn't have enough, his detection's not in the right place in that one moment, and he can just pick up and leave and do it again with even faster unload time. Like widow mines are the scary thing for me, just looking at this change, like how fast they can already unload and do damage, but even going faster, kind of a scary concept. It seems like, looking at the patch note for this, it says like we were just exploring various upgrade replacements. That sounds weird, right? Like replacements for what? As in like they're gonna do this instead of and like take the boost away, or
Oh.
it's getting kind of vague. Like why does it say upgrade replacements? I don't know. I don't know what that means.
isn't there
That
still
could be
a,
okay, I think. Removing the boost, I can live with that.
is there still the upgrade in the game for more energy in the medevacs?
I think that's gone now.
I see.
I think. No one ever does it. We only saw people use it to fake cloak in TVT.
I think it's still in the game, but there's no reason to ever get it even for faking, because cloak costs the same, so you literally never see it.
I see. But yeah, no, Blizzard seems a little weird lately. Like the Liberator is like a noob-proof anti-mutable unit or whatever. And then you have this that's like loading and unloading. They're like, yeah, Terrans, if you're not fast enough to play, you're still gonna find your race super awesome. And then yeah, we'll see where this goes. Now the only buff for Protoss is a PvP buff where the Disruptor does more damage to shields, making Disruptor more important in PvP. HuK, you've probably played the most Legacy of the Void out of all of us. What are your thoughts on the current PvP meta, and do you think the Disruptor with a buff to shields damage is going to do anything?
Yeah, right now it's just Disruptor, like they said, isn't used, so I guess they want to make it more applicable in PvP. I can't really comment too much more than that.
But you know it's like a nerf versus other matchups too, because you kill your own units faster.
Yeah, but they can balance that out. Like, I'm not so worried about that,
You see.
you know?
Okay.
And
Alright.
just, like, I think if you mess up and, you know, you do have that Disruptor on your own units, you should pay a price. So having it do more damage to your own units isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I see. Alright, the next up is really weird to me. You know, a lot of people complain about a Ravager. They could have made it to Lair. Instead, they nerfed the fuck out of it. And now that it's really shit, they're like, well, the Ravager dies too easily. So we're gonna remove the armored flag on the Ravager. So it's now, it doesn't have any tag. So it doesn't get bonus damage from like Stalkers, Marauders, Immortals. To increase its survivability. That's a fancy word. Huh?
Survivability.
Yeah, thank you guys. But yeah, so like, what do we think about this? Is this the right direction? Should we go backwards with the Ravager? Anyone?
I'm not sure as far as balance goes. I just think it's kind of stupid to just remove a tag from a unit just like that to increase its survivability. Like, you can easily do that by increasing its hit points. The Ghost is... I think the Ghost is only psionic. I don't think it's light or armored, and I'm not sure what the reason for that is. But basically, Ghost can tank Banelings like surprisingly well, and I don't see a good reason for it. And I don't see a good reason why Ravager wouldn't be armored or light, if you may.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's just weird.
It's like a roach that's armored. That's like the iconic StarCraft unit for being armored. When it evolves into something else, it loses its armor, even though it looks much tougher and looks more armored. And that seems weird, but I guess that's like one way to technically like change the code and increase survivability versus like Stalkers and Marauders specifically, I guess, right? Because they do bonus damage to armored, and those are the units that you're really dealing with when you're dealing with Ravagers. So,
Well,
I think it's kind of just like a band-aid solution to the problem. If there is a problem, like we don't have any Zergs on the show right now, so I mean, you play ZVZ a lot, Morrow, but like, is the Ravager too weak right now? What do you guys think?
Well, I think it got nerfed pretty hard. Basically, it used to have, I think, almost the same hit points as a roach, and it used to like attack twice as quick, and the fucking ability, you know, right? The fire from the sky.
Corrosive Bile, yeah.
Yeah, it was like super fast, and that shit had so long. It was basically super broken. So what they did was they nerfed the shit out of the unit. I think they decreased the hit points of it, and they also drastically decreased the attack rate, if I remember correctly. So I think it's pretty bad right now, but I just find it very like weird that you would remove an armor tag instead of just increasing its hit points or something like that.
yeah, that's very true. The Viper Bomb from 100 to 125, that's pretty reasonable. Armory ship upgrade costs reduced to match vehicle upgrade costs. I thought they like merged them. They did not.
They
No, they're merged right
unmerged
now in
them.
Heart of the Swarm.
They're merged in Heart of the Storm, but they like recently unmerged them in the last Legacy patch, right? So like now they're separated again.
Oh man.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, but I know they always play with it. It's so weird. Spore Crawler damage decreased from 15 plus 30 bio to 15 because mutas are never used anymore. And they want people to use more mutas. Worker counter change displays 2 per middle patch instead of 3. So instead of like showing 24, it shows 16. It helps the beginners. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the patch, guys. Blizzard's working hard, hopefully, to get a better game to us. Next topic, we have Hyun to join Axiom Team House. Now, you know, you hear me say that and you're like, wow, what a topic. But I want to, my man.
What a topic.
I want to revisit, you know, the foreign Team House. And, you know, Total Biscuit, when he tweeted that, there's already Patience True outside, that's not an Axiom, and now Yohan at the Axiom House. So, like, they're quite a lot. They're, what, 7 players now? Or 8 in the house, and they have, like, a well-rounded lineup of every race. Actually, do they? I think they only have... No, they have 2 Terrans. All right. But, yeah, basically... Wu would make a good team house in the foreign scenes. Like, just like pick your top three. We'll go one by one. Pick your top three, like based on like skill, work ethics, and so on.
Players?
Yeah. Like, who do you think would make like a really good team house? Three. So like one of each race or whatever. Just
What do
for
you mean make a good team house?
like
3 good members, foreign players? or what?
yeah, exactly. Like pick a Zerg, pick a Terran, and pick a Protoss that you'd be like, okay, that's gonna be like a good baseline for a team house. You would throw in there. It doesn't have to be like the best. It can be like work ethics. It can be more skill, just for shits and giggles. Let's start with you, Wolf. Who would-
Me, okay. Um, for Zerg, I would definitely have to say Snoot. He seems to be like a pretty level-headed guy. Really, obviously, quite talented player. Is this talking about putting players in Korea or just like team house in general? Anywhere, like could be in Europe, could be in
anywhere,
States?
yeah.
Okay, so Snoot seems to be like pretty calm guy. Seems to have a good work ethic. Works really hard as far as I can tell. For Terran, I don't know the foreign Terran players all that well. I would say Bunny is the one I know, like that I think of every now and then. That I would say like seems to be a pretty nice guy, pretty smart. Like doesn't seem the type to get angry. And for Protoss, I might have to say HuK, honestly. Not just because he's in the call here, but I don't know. Seems like a good like. When I look
Johan's
the
face
players
right
I'm-
now.
like the players I'm building up here together, right? I look at these two players that are a bit like more calm and maybe not as outspoken as HuK. I feel like HuK could also help. You know, if they had any issues they weren't speaking up about. I feel like
So,
NaNiwa
do you
also
think
though
it could be a problem if like one of the players are playing Heroes of the Storm? Don't you think that could like impact the motivation of the other two players?
I'm just talking about.
Well played.
Okay, so I'm talking about this, like, I guess purely on the idea of like that HuK is full time StarCrafting at this point, right? Like, and not casting it and not doing any hero stuff. So, if like we look at a more current standpoint, like I've spent a decent amount of time with this NaNiwa guy. He seems to be all right. I mean, I know there's all these rumors and people say he's like a mean guy to deal with, and I don't know. NaNiwa rages all the time. No, I don't know. He seemed pretty chill when I was staying with him, and he could be a good guy. He could be a good pros. He could be the one.
Yeah, that
Can
one.
be the one indeed.
What
Could be
about
the one.
what about you, Nanny? Who would be like your three people in a team house? That can include you, by the way.
Huh?
You can include yourself in the list of three.
Who would I pick? I think Snoot was a good choice. Snoot is a hardworking guy. Even when he played Swarm Host, I just couldn't bear with it to hate him, you know, like because I knew he worked hard anyway. I'm like, you fucking abuse Swarm Host, but you work hard, Snoot. So I'll give you that. And for Terran, foreign Terrans, definitely Marine Lord there, because he plays like so much.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he has a lot of drive to improve, and he wants to really make a name for himself, I feel. For Protoss, I don't know them very well personally, but like judging by how they play and how much they've improved and so on, I would say it's probably between like Petit Drogo, Lilbao, and Showtime, those guys. They all seem very eager and hungry for success, so I think those players combined with perhaps some good guidance from a coach or whatever could probably make something good happen.
Okay. Cool. What about you, Morrow?
You know, I think I would take NaNiwa and
Sort of.
no, I would take NaNiwa, Firecake, and the Muslim.
I
and
knew
have
he
them
would
all
go somewhere like
have
that.
them all in the same room, and then none of them can use headphones. They have to use speakers, and then I would put up cameras and start a reality show. I think that would be really successful.
Then you plan like pranks, and then you make them blame each other, and then yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
sick.
So I like shave NaNiwa's hair, and I put the shaver on like someone else's bed, and I wake them up.
What about you, Chris?
So it's like one player from each race, right?
Yeah, it can be you too.
Oh, I wouldn't pick me. I would pick from Protoss someone like Showtime. or Little Bao. Those would be my top. We're like similar to what NaNiwa's picked, were Protoss or Drogo, because they're young and they're hungry and they have like good motivation. So it's not even like who's the best player right now, but who's going to be the best player within like the next year in my eyes. And then for Zerg, I would say I really don't know. Zerg's kind of like a big question mark for me. I think obviously Snoot's the best player, but
After that, it's,
he doesn't
yeah.
he doesn't seem that motivated, so it's hard to even pick him. And then Terran player, I would pick somebody like Bunny would be a good choice. Someone like Thermal. More players that have been on the rise recently, I think. That's what I would pick.
Yeah.
And you got like obviously Wolf's points about picking someone that's like friendly, I guess, and like easy to get along with, because in a team house that's very important. Like living in the OGS house and then seeing like people's complaints about the GOM house, I realized I was really lucky to be in like a very like friendly environment that everybody got along, and
Yeah, friendly is important.
For you
man.
guys, a lot of you guys lived in the GOM house, so you know what I'm talking about. But it's important to like be happy as a player to play
Yeah.
your best as well.
Yeah, the gum house was a jungle, man. I still have PTSD.
Dude, I think we all do, man. Like,
Everyone
I don't know
except
if
for
you guys
Sasa,
remember.
who took his own room.
I don't know if you guys remember even the caster Doa, who's like now a League of Legends commentator, man. He
Yeah.
and I, we remember the stories from that house all the time. Like, it was a great time for many
Ultra
different
was the best.
Who?
Moltra.
Ultra.
Why?
Were you even in the house when he was there? I thought he was gone before.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I didn't see
Oh, that's
him.
right. Yeah,
Really
you-
fun.
It was actually the Gom House it was a funny topic because there was so many pros in so many different time periods. Like
Yeah.
actually, literally every person in this call except HuK lived there for a time, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Morrow, you were there for the World Championship. You were there for training. NaNiwa, you were there on several occasions for training as well as like just housing for like playing GOM tournaments. I lived there when I first came to Korea because I had like no money and I had just started working there, so I needed a place to stay. But it's actually like. It's funny that we're all here together, reunited in this Skype call, talking about StarCraft still years later.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It was nice. It was like a feeling of a dorm, like in school or whatever. Just like, I don't know, so many different moments. Like Todd always getting mad over nothing and everything. Then he wouldn't talk to you for days. It was like fucking crazy. My team would be Marine Lord. It would be Patreus. And then it would be Lilbo or T-Drogo. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is that, players like T-Drogo and I guess Snoot, if we go back to like 2012, really shows that being in a team house can really help boost your skill. T-Drogo was kind of out of nowhere, and now he's risen to be quite a good player. Snoot kind of had the same thing happen with Ministry of Wind. He stayed there for like, I don't know, I think a little bit more than 6 months, and then he had this breakout performance, and he joined Team Liquid. And I wanted to ask a question, and maybe it's a very simple answer, and we can move on after that, but does it need to have the same native language, or that's not necessary? Mo, what do you think? Because you lived in a Swedish house back in like 2011 or something.
That everyone is from the same country. I don't quite understand. First.
Like everyone speak the same native language, so like everyone's Swedish or.
I don't think that's important. As long as everyone got like decent English, that's good enough. One thing that can happen, that actually happened in our Swedish pro house, was that basically everyone was Swedish except Hilo, and that can be a bit awkward because. When he's not around them, we're talking Swedish, and when he's around, everyone is talking English and so on. So I think it's better to have a mixture of people of different countries, basically, or that everyone is the same country.
Okay. Okay, cool. We'll move on to starbow. Now, I know a lot of people. I actually had a lot of haters because in 2013 I really wasn't a believer of starbow, and I trashed it a little bit, and it took a while before people got over it. But years later, Morrow to be relevant after winning a starbow tournament. I think that's a pretty amazing headline. I'm glad you made it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
But yeah, so I don't think any of us have played the game besides you, so it was just to ask you how good is the game and what concept did you enjoy the most out of the game? Like, what new thing that you were like, oh my god, this is so cool?
Well, the game is really fun. Basically, the way I approach this is just like trying to play it like Brood War, and that's basically how all the starbow players are doing it as well. But I was kind of a bit innovative playing like Bio against Protoss, which basically nobody does in Brood War. So it's basically like Brood War, but it's kind of like an expansion. So there's new stuff too. But what I like the most is just messing around with basically my good old units like strong siege tanks, vultures, and that kind of stuff. It's really fun, the unit interactions, fighting against like circling lurker instead of circling baneling, and that kind of stuff.
Can I ask you some questions actually quick? Because I'm really interested in this topic. Like, so this tournament that you won was okay. I just want to ask some questions. Like, I mean, like this is like really serious. Is there like a starboat tournament scene? Because I don't really follow it. I played the game a lot when it first came out. I thought it was super cool, and everyone was talking about it. So I was like, oh my god, this could be like a new side scene in StarCraft. But it never took off the way people wanted it to. But is there like a scene where people making money? Because I remember you mentioned earlier you beat the player Arthur, which is like an old like Korean StarCraft like ladder grinder guy that everyone who's living in Korea has probably hit him on the ladder a lot, and he used to be on Slayers for a while. Is he like trying to make money in Starbow? Are you trying to make money in Starbow? Is this just like something you really enjoy? Like, is there like a scene? Can people make money off of Starbow tournaments? Is that actually a thing?
No, I think as a player you can't make money off of Starbow since they basically have like a weekly tournament, I think, with like $50 or something like that. So you can't really make a living out of that, right? You're not really gonna
Sure.
get any sponsor money or so on representing in like a weekly cup with 20 guys. But so like I play it all for the fun, and I imagine Arthur enjoys playing it since maybe I'm just assuming that he used to play Brood War, right?
Yeah,
But
I mean, his
yeah,
first.
obviously he wants to grab the easy money too. But I could imagine that he thinks it's fun too. I know BCQT has also played in some of those tournaments, and he also thinks the game is really fun. So it's like for us, it's a combination of getting a little bit of easy money and easy exposure, and but for the most part, it's just super fun, man. But yeah, there's like not a tournament scene or something like that. It's a small community, is what it is.
Yeah, it used to be a little bit bigger in 2013 or 14. I think Base Trade were casting a tournament weekly, but it's I don't know if it's weekly still, but they're making a comeback. You see all those threads on Reddit like, oh my god, Starbow is so fun. And so, as long as people enjoy some sort of StarCraft, that's all cool. I have it's not a rumor. I have like a source that I can name that just told me that T. Drogo, Lil Bao, Marine Lord, and a French player named DNS are going to be in a gaming house in Paris to practice together. So 3 Protoss and 1 Terran. NaNiwa, do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think that's cool? Do you think you wish you were French and you'd be there?
Oh, I definitely don't wish I was French.
This guy.
Whoa, desRow, how mad are you right now?
It's okay. I'm French Canadian. I'm the exception, right?
Right,
French.
right,
I'm
right.
French. The hell, Johan, going in on my people, man.
What? He asked me a question. Oh, either way, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been to France actually. But I'm not sure how impactful that is though. Like I feel like it won't change very much because I doubt that they will talk strategy very much as well because they are all competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can compare it to the Swedish scene, right? Like me, Morrow, sort of, and so on. We don't talk about like every little small detail all the time because we will play each other in like Swedish tournaments and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there is way more French tournaments than Swedish ones. So I would assume that it's
What?
like
Really?
nice for Oh yeah. For sure,
Like free
way
money
more,
kind
way
of
more.
tournaments? Like the Swedish ones?
Yeah, way more of those than we have.
Oh, man, I'm living in the
Their
wrong
national
country.
scene is way bigger than ours. So basically, like I feel it will be great for motivation purposes, but I don't think it will help the skill like per se very much.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's
Well,
my opinion so far, at least.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm wrong.
yeah, maybe they're more united than we think. We give them credit for. Next topic, GSL taking away the free medium quality. I know a lot of people were upset about that. And there's also something that I want you guys to vote on. I made a little straw poll just for the hell of it. Make sure to go vote. Basically, the straw poll is, if you're sub to GSL, would you stay sub without Tastosis casting? Would you be subbed and unsub if Tastosis was gone? And would you still watch with Tastosis? Well, I guess that one didn't make sense. I made it before the show. I'm retarded. Would you watch less if Tastosis was gone? So please don't pick the retarded option. And so basically, like, they went back to taking away a medium for free. The English casters are too much for them to handle the cost, I suppose. Maybe Wolf can tell us a little bit more since he's here. But
Sure.
go ahead.
So I talked about this the other day on that other talk show that I'm like drawing a blank on the name, not Lycan's show. And
It's fine.
Oh yeah.
anyway, I was on that, like, and I talked about this topic very briefly, but I'll talk about it again. Just because like people think that like, and this is actually a topic that I get a lot. I get these questions a lot because I'm actually a very like strong believer that people should subscribe if they like the content. But people ask me all the time, like, it's because of the salaries, right? You guys make so much money that's why we have to do this. And I'm not going to talk about salaries at all, because that's like personal and private for all of us out here. But like, it's you're actually just paying to make sure the tournament still happens, because GSL is now separated from WCS, which is why they're allowed to do this. But then of course Blizzard doesn't support them as much directly. If Blizzard's going to support them super directly monetarily, then they have to play by Blizzard's rules, right? So there's like that exchange. And so GSL, fought pretty hard for a long time because they felt like, they built this brand, they built this tournament, and then it became WCS Korean. They wanted to just be GSL, and so Blizzard said, okay, that's fine, and you can play by your own rules. And they allowed Star League to do the same, basically. So there's these two tournaments in Korea that can basically do whatever they want, and still, because they follow the WCS rules for like getting points, and Blizzard's given them special circumstances where these tournaments get a ton of points, because that's what Koreans want, that's what the tournament organizers wanted, that's what the players want, because they're like, hey, look, Blizzard, we're actually the best players in the world. You have to give us more points, or it's just really not fair to say that we have to stay in this region. So now that the GSL is separate and they're no longer getting as much funding from Blizzard, they have to make money somehow, some other way. And really what you guys are paying for is for the camera guys, for the tournament organizers, the referees, the lighting guys, the makeup people, the casters, everybody else. GOM TV, for example, just talking about GOM specifically, is a big company. They have global people. They have several global people that are they're like monitoring feedback on Reddit. I know GOM employees that look at Reddit. Like there's a huge global employee base within GOM TV, which is actually quite rare for a Korean company to be that developed, right? So they've got that going for them. They've got production that built Korean StarCraft 2. They were the first ones to do it, and they built that model on a subscription model. Like, if you guys remember the old GSLs, right? HuK played in these GSLs. NaNiwa has played in these GSLs. Morrow has played in these GSLs, right? The old model of the very expensive, high quality, right? Back then it was high quality. You could watch on the GOM player. But realistically, that quality was like possibly worse than current Twitch medium quality, to be totally honest. But people still paid, and GOM TV built their whole subscription model on this idea. And then that was kind of, to a certain extent, taken away from them. And now they have it back. And they're obviously they are messing around with the idea of like, okay, medium or riot is this joke that even the GOM employees are running with a little bit. And they gave it back, and then they saw, okay, we're losing too much revenue, we have to take it away again. So it's literally just this is not worth it for us from a marketing standpoint, from a like we can't just say we're going to give the fans what they want because we're losing too much money to do so. This is just a pure business decision. It's a revenue decision. So this really all this is. And GOM has even said this in like public statements on Twitter. They posted last week when they made that announcement. So this is one of those things that's like it's not because like the commentaries are too expensive. It's not because like Blizzard took all their money away and they're like barely gonna survive and they need all this. It's just like it's a subscription based model for running this tournament for foreigners because it costs a lot of money to have a whole completely second global stream. And I don't even want to get into the details of how much more complicated the Korean stream is than the English stream. But the English stream was initially kind of a side stream, and then it was like this cool revenue stream that they had, and they put a ton more money into improving it. And that's why we no longer are on that Golden Player. So we're actually now able to have high quality stuff on Twitch because that equipment was older. It's been updated. That costs a lot of money, and we're now like in a place where on the GSL we have higher quality stuff. And I feel like people. I know I'm ranting here for a bit. I'm going to finish really soon, but I feel like the people who are unwilling to pay and are really upset should just like really rethink what they spend their money on because they're like hardcore StarCraft fans, right? That stay up until for some of them like 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the best players in the world. And why would you not want to support that?
Yeah.
I mean that's my 2 cents, and that's then again like all my explanations as to why this is happening, and I'm not like making this up. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Did you explain why it's free in Korea and not in the foreign scene?
Okay,
Did
so
I miss that part? Or?
no, I didn't actually. It's like very simple. The main sponsors for the GSL are Korean sponsors, right? And they always have been. Hot6, the biggest sponsor we had for a long time. Now we're in the Spenu era, where Spenu is sponsoring a ton of StarCraft. They're actually like the saviors of Korean
So
StarCraft.
it's two completely different things, or like the
Right,
English stream?
exactly. So like the Spenu market is in Korea. You can't go to a Spenu shop in Europe or in the States, right? So that like you can't get that sponsor to pay for the global stream because it doesn't mean anything to them, right? Like or Hot6, you can't really buy Hot6 outside of Korea. It's a Korean product that's very popular in Korea. And is like, for example, a direct competitor to Red Bull. So those Korean sponsors don't have any real interest in like the global market because like they're not going to be like, well, I guess we'll pay for your whole stream because maybe when some of the foreigners come to Korea every now and then they'll buy Hot6 instead of Red Bull when they're in Korea. It's not really the same market at all that we're dealing with
But
here.
there's no interest in like getting like sponsors for the other stream. Then that's not viable, or it's not something they're interested in since they're a Korean company, or
that's something that like I can't talk about too much, but I know that Gom has been working on trying to actually find those types of sponsors and not just going to the other Korean companies as well. Because obviously, if they could solve that problem, if they could actually find a global sponsor that's interested in sponsoring worldwide, then that would solve the problem. But then you've got the viewership problem with StarCraft 2 compared to other esports, and you have
but that's also
other
kind of
issues.
related
Like
as well, though, like to all of the quality stuff as well as the VOD stuff and so on. Like it
Sure,
would
I mean,
obviously help if they had like higher quality and like stuff like this.
everything kind of like wraps around, right? 'Cause
Yeah, exactly.
you have to also consider that Korean esports specifically we're talking about here takes place at a time zone that is like it's hard to map on a demographic because it's a different time zone in Australia, it's a different time zone in Europe, it's a different time zone in America. It's not really prime time in the States for that, like not at all. It's like in the middle of the night where most people are sleeping or waking up to go to work. And then you have to keep in mind that the American market and the Australian market and the European market, it's a global market that we're talking about here. Different products, different localizations, and every company, every big sponsor is going to sponsor something. Like imagine McDonald's was going to sponsor the GSL. Then you've got McDonald's America, you've got McDonald's Europe, there's like McDonald's China, there's like a million different types of branches of McDonald's. So if say the GSL was to talk to McDonald's Korea, they'd be like, I don't know, you got to call up NA, and NA's like, we're doing some other marketing stuff right now. Like this is kind of small fries compared to what we want to do. It's all very complicated. It's a really difficult process to find a sponsor that can really hone into this honestly very niche market of people that are watching this show in the middle of the night, and they're my favorite kind of people. I love these people, but like it's hard to just say, let's find a sponsor for this and explain that to a sponsor. Like, hey, we've got this hardcore group of fans that stays up till 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the show of these Korean players. You want to sponsor that? And then it also affects the title sponsor, who's a sponsor of the league, who would not want like another sponsor's logo on there, even though it's for the global stream. It's all very complicated, right? So
yeah, and it makes sense, and yeah, a lot of people started realizing that on Reddit that it's just the sponsors are now relevant to the foreign scene, so it's hard to justify. Then of course, well, like I think the brightest side or like the silver lining here is that GSL VODs are now free, but you only have to wait a week to see them. Like on YouTube, like every game is uploaded now, but you
Really?
have to but you have to wait a week. So it comes down to how patient you are, which I think is cool because like before they would upload only the first game,
Yeah.
but now it's every game but a week later. So props to GOM for trying to make improvements on that at least. And then maybe one day everyone will have enough money to subscribe. Until that day, you can complain on Reddit all you want. No one's going to take that away from you. This is not Fat People Hate.
Uh,
All right.
but it's really hard to justify it, though. At least to me.
The money?
Yeah.
All right, wait. Let's talk about this because this is something I feel very
But then
strongly
again,
about.
that's because they took my GSL seat. I'm like, I'm never giving you money.
This guy.
Well,
Well,
but seriously, like, I want to ask all of you guys and see what you think about this. Like, do you think the price is reasonable? And if
It's
not,
20 bucks,
like,
right?
why not? Well, it depends on which version of the quality you
yeah,
get.
there's like you can have like a $14 one.
And how long is that then?
That's
Like
a
one
season.
season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like 2 months-ish to 3 months, depending on how long the season ends up going.
I don't know. Considering how hard you have to fucking work to get one person to pay you $5 to subscribe when you stream, I don't know. It's it's a hard question. Like personally for me, like one season for that much money, it's not a big deal obviously to me, but it depends a lot on what kind of people you're trying to appeal to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would guess that most people are younger people, and I think it will be hard to get younger people to pay $14 per season, but perhaps I'm thinking about it wrong. What
Well,
do you
what,
think,
what
Mark?
about everybody else? Like, what about you guys, Morrow, HuK?
Personally, I find it overpriced, and it's very tough to sell since on Twitch basically everything is free. So, and there are other leagues to watch. Like, why would I subscribe to GSL when Pro League is so much cheaper and they have the same caliber of players? And also, like, it's uploaded 1 week later, so maybe I can watch Pro League live and then I'll watch, you know, GSL VODs 1 week later. So I think the having like to pay to see better quality makes sense. I just think the cost is not put at a good price right now. I think $5, like just making it cheaper would basically make maybe twice as many people just instantly subscribe because they don't have to think about it. But right now it's like so expensive that you have to like really think about what you're doing here. So
Well-
I don't think they would necessarily lose money to put it down to, let's say, $5, and maybe it would even, you know, maybe they would even make more money off of it because that many more people would subscribe. But you know, I'm like not an economic, I'm not like a business guy, so I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but that makes sense in my head to have
Yeah.
it like have things super cheap instead so everyone gets on the train. And I think it's hurtful a little bit for StarCraft 2 to have not super good quality for people who come in and they see like they basically see GSL on their front page like, oh, GSL, what is this? Oh, StarCraft 2. And then they basically have to sit there and watch like shitty quality and they're like, well, this is kind of cool, but I have to pay $50 to really see what's going on, so
Well-
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. The pricing is not that bad. It's like $15 if you buy it at the beginning of the season, but then if you come in late and you want to buy per month, it's $8. So and the season's 3 months. So if they made it $5, it's basically the same thing as if you pay it up front. That'd be. I'm sure that'd get a lot more people. I don't think the pricing's that bad. It's just people are picky because the thing is like it's all about competition, right? So you have Pro League that uploads the VODs instantly, and then you have SSL that does the same on YouTube. So really, you're subscribing only to chat for those. So obviously, people are gonna be more harsh and be more judgy of GSL when they're not really trying to compete with SSL and Pro League in terms of pricing, right? I think that makes sense. But Chris, are you available to comment?
Yeah, I think it's okay, the subscription, to be honest. I don't have a problem with it. Because at the end of the day, GSL has always been kind of busto compared to like Kespa, OG, and kind of shit, so it just makes sense. But I'm sure a good amount of that money is going to cover the casters' salaries, so I'm with you, Reddit. Let's unite. Let's bring those casters down. I'm one of them now. I know how much money they make.
What the
I'm
fuck?
just kidding, obviously. I've known how much they made for like ever now, but I'm fine
Truly
with
a man
it.
of the people.
I'm
you
fine
think that
with
you
it.
think the pricing is good too?
Yeah.
I mean, if you view it from the standpoint that it's $5 a month, you know, if you, like desRow said, got in at the early time, I think they should just not have it where, you know, I think they should have it where it's maybe $12 for 3 months, so people that want to get in early, they still can, and the ones that want to pay month to month can just pay like the normal subscription rate. The biggest thing is people see that it's a little overpriced, and they're like, what the hell, these greedy bastards, you know? But it's like it comes down to GSL's never had the money that Kespa has had or OGN or Pro League has had, so they're always gonna be looking for handouts a little bit more, which is understandable because as a business they don't have the same sponsors.
All right. Well, I think that covers pretty much everything about GSL. They still provide a good quality stream when you can watch it in good quality. That is. But yeah, the next up is a